Here are 7 things men were never taught but are expected to just figure out. I try to create videos with solutions when I can, but sometimes the most powerful thing is just naming what so many men go through so you know you're not alone. That's what this one is. Be sure to let me know in the comments which of these hits closest to home for you. 1. How to express anger without being feared or labeled toxic. You're human. You sometimes experience anger, sometimes legitimate righteous anger about things that actually matter. But here's the impossible bind you've been placed in. If you express it, you're dangerous. You're toxic. You are the problem. But if you suppress it, it builds and builds until you eventually explode, and then you're really the problem. And you get blamed for not expressing your feelings. Nobody taught you the middle ground. Nobody showed you how to be angry and still be safe. How to express frustration without being feared. How to stand your ground without being labeled controlling or abusive. Like when your partner keeps undermining you in front of others and you finally say something and you're the one who gets told to calm down. So what do most men do? They stuff it down. They smile when they want to scream. They say, it's fine, when it's absolutely not fine. And that anger doesn't disappear. It goes underground. It becomes passive aggressiveness, resentment, or depression, or it comes out sideways in ways that are actually destructive. And here's what you were never taught. Anger is information. It's telling you something important about your values, your boundaries, your limits. But you were taught to fear your own anger instead of learning how to listen to it and channel it constructively. The goal isn't to never be angry. The goal is to express it in ways that create connection instead of distance, resolution instead of destruction. 2. How to handle being quietly taken for granted. You show up, you carry weight, you're reliable, you're the one people call when they need something fixed, solved, or handled. You're present for birthdays, emergencies, obligations, you provide, you protect, and you perform. And you're invisible until you stop. Then, suddenly, you're the bad guy. What's wrong with you? Why are you being so difficult? You're not usually like this. The moment you step back from carrying everyone else's load, you become the problem. Nobody taught you how to handle this, how to be generous without being taken advantage of, how to be dependable without becoming invisible, how to maintain your value without constantly proving it. The truth is, when you're always available, your availability becomes expected. When you always say yes, your no has no weight. When you never ask for anything, people forget you have needs too. You were never taught that being taken for granted isn't a reflection of your worth. It's often a reflection of your boundaries or lack thereof. 3. How to make peace with a father you could never please or never had. Nobody teaches you what to do with the ache left behind by a father who never saw you, never praised you, or never showed up at all. Whether he was distant, critical, or completely absent, you were still expected to grow into a grounded, confident man without ever being shown what that looked like. So you overperformed, or shut down, or tried to be the man he never was. You might have even vowed to be nothing like him. But that void, that unresolved tension, shaped you more than you want to admit. What you were never taught is that being a man isn't about chasing your father's approval or avoiding his shadow. It's about reclaiming your own definition of strength, love, and worth, even if he never gave you a model to follow. You weren't taught that father wounds don't heal by pretending they don't exist or by becoming everything he wasn't. 4. How to grieve the life you thought you'd have. When you were younger, you pictured a version of your future. Maybe it wasn't crystal clear, but it had a feeling, a direction. You imagined being someone by now, a man with confidence, clarity, peace, maybe with more money, more freedom, more fulfillment, maybe with a better marriage or a deeper sense of purpose. But that version of your life didn't fully materialize. Maybe parts did, but other parts, gone. Some of the doors you thought you'd walk through are permanently closed. And even though you're still functioning, still moving forward, there's a quiet grief sitting in your chest that you've never really named. Nobody taught you what to do with that. How to mourn the life you didn't get to live. How to process the loss of potential without seeing yourself as a failure. How to acknowledge that you did your best and still didn't end up where you thought you would. And this isn't about regret for one or two bad decisions. This is about something deeper. Letting go of the man you thought you'd be by now. Letting go of the timeline you thought you'd follow. Letting go of the illusion that life was going to feel easier or clearer or more rewarding by this point. And here's the thing. Grieving that imagined life doesn't mean giving up on the one you have. It means reclaiming it fully, not as a consolation prize, but as your reality with all of its grit, pain, wisdom, and possibility. You weren't taught how to do that. But it's the only way to move forward with clarity instead of carrying the weight of a life that never was on your back. If you're getting value from this so far, please support the channel by liking the video. Thank you. 5. How to deal with being sexually invisible to women. This one's brutal, and nobody talks about it honestly. Maybe you were never the guy who turned heads, but you still felt seen at some level probably, like your presence mattered, or at least like you had potential, like you were part of the sexual and social fabric. But now, you're furniture. Waitresses look through you. Younger women don't register your existence. Even women your own age often see you as safe, harmless, non-sexual. The energy that once drew people to you, even if it was subtle, has shifted, and you feel it. Nobody prepared you for this loss, for the grief of no longer being seen as attractive or sexually relevant, for becoming invisible in a way that chips away at your own confidence and your sense of yourself as a man. This is about the basic human need to feel attractive, desired, vital. And when that validation disappears, it leaves a void that nobody acknowledges exists. Society tells you to age gracefully, accept your limitations, focus on other things, but nobody helps you process the real emotional impact of no longer being sexually visible, of feeling like your desirability has an expiration date. 6. How to handle your body betraying you without losing your identity. You built your sense of self around being strong, capable, resilient. Your body was something you could always count on. You could work long hours, recover quickly, push through pain, handle physical challenges without thinking twice. Now your back goes out from sleeping wrong. You need reading glasses to see the menu. You can't drink like you used to without paying for it the next day. Recovery takes longer. Injuries don't heal the same. Your energy crashes differently. And nobody taught you how to be a man when your body stops cooperating, how to maintain your identity when your physical capabilities diminish, how to process the loss of invincibility without feeling like less of a man. And the advice is usually practical. Exercise more, eat better, accept aging, but nobody addresses the identity crisis, the grief of losing the body you counted on, the fear of becoming weak, dependent, or vulnerable. Your worth as a man isn't determined by your physical strength, but when that strength has been central to how you see yourself, losing it feels like losing yourself. 7. How to carry the weight of everyone's problems without drowning. Your wife's stress about work. Your kid's struggles with school, relationships, future plans. Your aging parents' health issues and financial concerns. Your own work pressure and financial anxiety. Extended family drama. Friends' problems they dump on you because you're good at handling things. Everyone comes to you because you can take it. You're strong. You're stable. You're the one who doesn't fall apart when things get difficult. So you become the emotional dumping ground for everyone in your orbit. But nobody taught you how to process all that weight without it crushing you. How to be supportive without absorbing everyone else's anxiety. How to carry your load without drowning in the overflow from others. The irony is that your strength becomes a liability. Your competence becomes a burden. People lean on you until you're buried under their problems, and then they wonder why you're not as available as you used to be. You were never taught that emotional strength doesn't mean emotional invincibility, that you can care about people's problems without making them your own, that being supportive doesn't require sacrificing yourself. Let me know in the comments which of these hits closest to home for you. Are there others you'd add to the list? And if you're a guy navigating midlife and trying to live more authentically, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I appreciate you watching. Have a good day.